thank you, Lord, for all your many blessings. We thank you that we're able to come into a newly renovated building and all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you help us to be good stewards of what you bless us with. We ask your blessings upon everyone under the sound of my voice. And as we begin our meeting, we invite your presence and ask that you help us to go through every agenda item with wisdom and understanding. Help us to always be grateful for the things you have given us and to take care to make decisions that are pleasing in your sight. We also thank you for your healing powers and your many blessings that you have bestowed upon so many who have suffered from COVID-19 and are healed, and we praise you for that. We ask that you be with our staff members who have suffered death in their families. God, you know how to comfort and lift them up and just heal their hearts and their minds. Give them strength as they go through this hour of bereavement. These and all blessings we thank and ask in the precious name of our Savior and your Son. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Blanding, are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
No changes on process. I just wanted to call that attention to the council that we do correct the agenda.
As council can see, we've got two groups of minutes, one from our regular meeting for Tuesday, October 13th, but one from Tuesday, July 28th. They were both included in our packet and emailed by Mrs. Blanding. You have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept our minutes for our regular meeting for Tuesday, October 13th, and for our regular meeting for Tuesday, July 28th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Both sets of minutes are accepted. We have no land use matters. Prior to going into the public hearings, the next three items on the agenda all have to do with Project Tiger 5, as we've called it. I'd like to take this time to introduce Mr. Brian. Guys left. Roger Shaw, Brian, I'm sorry. I'm getting old. And he's going to introduce who Project Tiger 5 is.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. Once again, coming on behalf of the Sumter Development Board, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to work on behalf of Sumter County. We continue working forward as we work to recruit companies and to help them grow and expand to improve the quality of life for everyone here. We'd like to introduce two folks. We've got Chris Adams, who's President and CEO of the company, and also Greg Hoffman, who's the Vice President of Operations with the company. So we'd like to say thank you very much for this opportunity.
Right. What's the name of the company?
The name of the company is Nova Molecular Technologies Incorporated.
Nova Molecular. Okay, ordinance number 2933. Mr. Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. The first item on your agenda under public hearings is ordinance 20-933. And as Mr. Rochenbach explained, Nova Molecular is going to expand, but after an attempt to expand the existing site over by the old Southern Coatings facility, they're going to move out to Racetrack Road and build there. So there are three ordinances. One is an ordinance to approve the sale, another ordinance to approve a FEMA tax, and the other is to amend our Sumter County Industrial Park. We have the county to include that whole area out there in the Sumter County Park. So let's take one at a time. The first is an ordinance to authorize the sale of the property on Racetrack Road. We're going to sell 15 acres, more or less, for $15,000 an acre. give you an option for another 16 acres more or less, and then a right of first refusal for an additional 17 acres. So if you've seen this before, if you have any questions prior to the hearing, I'll be delighted to answer your questions.
Any questions of Mr. Bryan? Prior to second reading, I will open it up for
Actually, third reading tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Third
Reading on all three of these ordinances.
on all three of them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to open up public hearing for ordinance number 2933. Anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance to authorize the sale of the property, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee Newman. I live on Racetrack Road, farm in that area. I have for a lifetime. And, I oppose the sale of this property too, under circumstances we don't know anything about it. It's new to us. My neighbors on that Racetrack Road, we hadn't had the chance to learn about this company and what this is bringing our community up. I would, we as a community and member of Racetrack Road, would appreciate if you take time and reconsider this and let us get educated on what's coming in our neighborhood. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, Mr. Newman, thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak against the sale of this property? Anyone wishing to speak for the sale of the property, or anyone want to make any comments?
So I'm Chris Adams from Nova Molecular. We've operated in the town of Sumter for over 10 years. We're a chemical purification company. We really are focused on serving high-value markets such as pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and chem agro. And what we do really is to take highly needed, high-value solvents that are primarily contaminated with water. That's the primary contaminant that we are experts at removing. And remove that from these high-value solvents. And then we return those solvents to customers that have generated the solvents, the waste solvents, or we return them to the market. Nova, one of our missions, and it's actually in the first letters of our vision statement, is to improve the communities that we operate in, as well as the larger world. And we do that by being a good community member. We look out for our employees, we look out for our communities.
Anyone else wishing to speak for? I declare the public hearing closed. Pleasure, council.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve third reading of ordinance 2933. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming that y'all are real careful with whatever y'all do around there. I think with farming and all that, he probably is a little bit concerned about land and water table. Y'all are confident about how y'all deal with everything out there.
Absolutely. Yes, and really, as part of that site, we endeavor to make that site the greenest site possible. That's from an energy perspective, but that's also from an environmental perspective. We absolutely want to be a good neighbor. And we had attempted to expand into the adjacent site. However, through a long, protracted discussion, we found that that wasn't going to be possible. So that's why we selected this site, which gives us the room to grow. Ultimately, we want to make this site a site that the town and the people of Sumter are going to be really proud of.
And how many jobs are y'all bringing in?
Right now, we're estimating about 25 jobs in the foreseeable future.
And for these types of jobs, are they engineering jobs?
Some of these are going to be engineering jobs, some will be environmental engineering, chemical engineering, analytical chemistry. So when we bring material into the site, that needs to be analyzed to make sure it is what we think it's going to be. And then when we create a finished product, we need to analyze it again. So, some technical jobs, then there's also going to be operator positions. But, we're committed to educating our folks who work on the site. We like to call them street engineers, and we have a really in-depth program to make sure that these folks learn distillation and other purification techniques.
Ms. Allen, you stated that you've been operating in Sumter for 10 years. Have you been doing the same type of work at the current site?
We
We've had no problems at all in those 10 years you've been at that site.
That's correct.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments? It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor of approving third reading of ordinance 2933, please say aye. All opposed? Third reading of ordinance 2933 is approved. Mr. Bryan, 2934.
Yes, sir. Prior to third reading, you'll have a public hearing on ordinance 20-934, which is an ordinance to approve the fee and lieu tax agreement. Just to summarize, the company is promising to invest about $15 million, 14.9 to be precise, create 25 jobs in return. We're giving them a 6% assessment ratio for 30 years, and the millage will adjust every 5 years. There's 10% special revenue credit for years 1 through 10, 7% for years 11 through 20. Those are the general terms. The documents go on and on, page after page, but I wouldn't put you to all that. If you have questions about the terms of the tax agreement, we're glad to take those prior to public hearing.
Nothing has changed since they were presented to us 2 weeks ago.
No material changes since then.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Bryan? Public hearing is now open on ordinance 2934. Anyone wishing to speak against the authorization of the fee and lieu, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record. Public hearing is open. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak for, please proceed to the podium. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. What is your pleasure, council?
Third reading.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on ordinance 2934. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Ordinance, third reading for ordinance 2934 is approved. Ordinance number 2935, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, ordinance number 20-935 will put 143.86 acres into the multi-county park with Lee County. This 143 acres includes the land that the Middle Equity will buy, and for which they'll have an option and right of first refusal. So we're putting the whole block of what we call a Lewis and Mark tract into the multi-county park because we intend for it to be industrial. We would like to take any questions.
Questions or comments? All right. I declare public hearing for ordinance 2935. Anyone wishing to speak against the master agreement, please proceed to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak for? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Pleasure, council.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on ordinance 2935. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Third reading for ordinance 2935 is approved. Moving on to new business.
Mr. Chair. Here we go. Mr. Chair, good evening. We have 2 items under new business. This is our annual approval of our calendars. For the first one, our Sumter County Employee Holiday Calendar. You may have a copy, and we've tried to revise it. Apologize. We have Tuesday, November 2nd of next year as election day. I don't believe we will be having an election next year. Somebody made a comment that we might be still trying to confirm the election next year. But we won't need a holiday for that reason. So if you have that version, please strike that. We will not have November 2nd. The rest of the dates are requested from staff.
Move for approval. Second.
Properly seconded, any discussion? All in favor of adopting next year's holiday schedule? Please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda is the county council meeting schedule. That is correct. For the council's book.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded that we accept the calendar for council's schedule of meetings for next year. All in favor? I'm sorry, any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks, sir.
On to old business, ordinance number 2932, second reading.
Chair, members of the council, ordinance 20-937 is second reading to extend the agreement with Waste Management concerning the transportation and disposal of municipal solid waste. I hope to have for you by this time an actual amendment or addendum to the existing contract, but we don't have that yet. We want to go forward. We do have an addendum regarding the other contract that we have with Waste Management, which we'll take up in 938. And the only change regarding that addendum, and I expect we will have the same change suggested with this one, is which index we will use to allow the contract price to adjust annually. We could, of course, address this every year, revisit this every year to adjust the price that we pay to Waste Management for the services they provide. Essentially, in each case, if this will be 5-year extensions, better just go ahead and approve it and say that the price will adjust according to an index. And the number of indexes is the Consumer Price Index, the Southeast has the WST Water, Sewer, and Trash Index, and then there's the PPI Index, and we're trying to decide which of those indexes is most appropriate for these particular contracts. Those are the only issues outstanding. As you said, I recommend you go ahead and pass second reading. We'll have this resolved by third reading.
Yes.
We're trying to decide which one we want to use. Who is we?
Staff. Staff is negotiating with Waste Management. We're still gathering information in order to make the count.
What have we used with the current contract?
We're using the Southeastern Consumer Price Index, as I recall.
That has worked well for us.
Yeah, the WST is a nationwide index, and PPI is a nationwide index. Southeastern is a consumer price index, but it's related to data gains from the Southeastern United States. So there's different types of data being collected. So we've got to figure out which of those is, of course, best for Sumter County, of course, for everybody's market.
Councilman, we've actually reached out to the Association of Counties to get a little bit of information as well, to make sure we make an informed decision.
Any other questions, Mr. Brian? Pleasure of council.
Move for approval.
So moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance 2937. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Second reading for ordinance 2937 is approved. Ordinance 2938, Brian.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, this is the other service contract we have with Waste Management. This is the contract that on which they take the municipal solid waste that's delivered to the transfer station and take it across over to Richland County to Green Eagle Road and their landfill there. We've seen an actual proposed amendment, and that's the one commission that has the WST index in there, which is relevant for water, sewer, and trash, but it includes a nationwide, and our concern would be whether or not that's really an appropriate index for this area of the country. That having been said, we expect to have a fully prepared addendum to the contract at your next meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance 2938. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, second reading? All opposed? Second reading for ordinance 2938 is approved. Ordinance 2939.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, 2939 is an ordinance to approve the sale of some property on Northwise Drive where the spec building, the second spec building is constructed. This is a part of a larger project known as Project Form. I don't want to go into all the details of that, but you have before you an offer that's been made by Thompson Construction Group. This is an offer. We're still gathering some information so we can make a counter offer. But because this whole project is moving fairly quickly, we'd like to go ahead and approve second reading. We'll have a proposed contract for you at third reading and public hearing.
Any questions or comments? Moved and properly seconded that we have second reading for ordinance 2935. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Second reading for the ordinance 2939 is approved. 2940, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, 940 is second reading on a field tax agreement for Project Lisa. Project Lisa is an existing industry, and they're promising to invest $84 million, create 164 new jobs. In return, we are offering a 6% assessment ratio with millage that adjusts every 5 years, as long as 30 years. They'll have a 5-year investment period, and if they invest the $84 million in the first 5 years, then they'll get an additional 5-year investment period. They'll get a 35% special source of revenue credit for 5 years. Those are the general terms. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Questions, Mr. Bryant? Pleasure, council. Properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance 2940. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ordinance 2940 second reading is approved. We really didn't have any committee to meet today. We did have a council orientation on our new chambers. This is the first time that many of us have seen it. I'd like to commend staff for what they've done since they've finished the construction. With the exception of the elevator working, not working, the flow was pretty good tonight, so thank you very much. The monthly reports are in your packet. Are there any reports from council members on other meetings, trainings, or conferences or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Nixon. County Administrative report.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chair, council members. Quickly, I'll give you first I want to welcome everybody to our new home. We really like this new facility. I think it's one primary function for those in the audience. Council is fully aware this primary function is for security. You can tell there's an additional measures you have to take as you get in the building, but I think overall it's working well. We've got a few more kinks to work out, a few other things we'd like to do over the next couple of months, but overall we're very pleased and welcome everybody to this new facility. I'd like to also give a COVID update. For the past 2 weeks, we've had 191 new cases in Sumter County. The daily average has increased to 13.6, where it was 9.1 for the last 2-week period. We've had unfortunately six additional deaths in Sumter County. Of those 6, 5 of them were elderly, and 5 were white males, and then we had a 6th, 1 female as well. We have a total of 63 deaths now, according to our coroner, and state total is at 86. Mr. Baton, you asked at the last meeting that I try to determine why that difference was. I've spoken to the coroner at length, and there are a number of reasons why, but primary reasons are that the coroner isn't notified about each death, and early on in the COVID process, of the COVID pandemic, there were a number of cases in the nursing homes and the hospitals that were not being reported, so that's a portion of those numbers. Also, one of the things we've just recently determined is that the doctors sometimes make changes to the final report as opposed to the hospital's report. We know of a specific case here in Sumter where it was the person that passed away in the hospital had COVID and then was in the hospital for a period of time and then was tested negative for COVID a couple of times, but then still passed away. The hospital deemed it wasn't a COVID death, but then the doctors came in and changed it to COVID. So there's a little bit of miscommunication going on. That will probably identify a few of them, but not, I don't think it's the large sum. But another, I think the bigger number is probably going to come from if a person actually goes to another hospital, another facility from Sumter, for example, goes to Richland and passes away, COVID-related death, that information isn't passed back to our coroner, but it goes on the DHEC list as a Sumter death. So there's a little bit of information communication issues, I believe. And just to give you an example, today, I pulled a report from DHEC's sheets that list all the confirmed deaths for South Carolina over the past 2 weeks, and we have none from Sumter that have been identified, but we know of at least 6. So those will probably come later on the list. So again, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's probably not a pure number out there, but the one number that I would like to rely on is our coroner, because he's local and he has the most information, and he's trying to do, I would say, trying to do a better job of trying to establish better communications with DHEC, the hospital, and the nursing homes, which are primarily where most of these are occurring. But good information, but unfortunately, I don't know that they'll ever match up, is what I'm trying to say. But we'll keep driving that number. That's all I have.
Mr. Bates, Chairman, can I make a comment on that, please? You know, we are hearing on the news that we are turning the corner on this violence. And at the same time, it's surging. More and more people are dying. More and more people are testing positive. And sadly, the big emphasis now is on wearing a mask. And people are talking about making this a mandatory requirement. Because if we want to save lives, wearing a mask is one of the best ways of saving lives. The numbers are going up in Sumter. Looked like at one time it was predominantly, disproportionately African American. They were about 7% of the death. But it's now looks like what you're saying, 5 people who died are white. So what I would like for us to do as a county, as a county government, if we are really, really concerned about the citizens of Sumter County, if we are really concerned about their health and welfare, then we as a county would pass a mask mandate, similar to the city of Sumter. I hate to say when I look at Mayor McElveen, and I admire him for his courage and willingness to step forward and implement and get the approval of his body to have a mask mandate. Because he knows from all of the statistics that municipalities and counties that have a mask mandate have less positive tests and less death. I would like for our leadership on county council to take the initiative to push for a mask mandate. And that to me will show that we really care about our citizens. And we are not going to follow this ridiculous thing that's going on about we have turned a corner on this virus when more and more people are dying every day. So we need to get for real. And I'm going to ask again that this body, that our leadership implement and try to implement with the rest of the members on this council a mask mandate for Sumter County. Other counties have done it. We can do it too. So my plea is to this body for you to show your love and concern for the citizens of this county by looking out for their health and welfare. Thank you. May God bless you.
Mr. Nixon.
Yes, sir.
The last time we had the mask ordinance to come before us, there were some specific objections by several members of council. I think one of them that Mr. Baker had to do with wearing a mask while working outside, which was a part of that particular ordinance. Can we go back and look at that ordinance again? And let's work on pulling those that were objected to at the last voting and bring it back to us, and we'll see if we can get it passed. Is that okay with you, Mr. Baker?
I greatly appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. And I feel that it's the right move. And I want to thank you for your courageous action on trying to get that done. Thank you.
Okay, public comment has still been suspended. May I have a motion to
Move for adjournment. Second.
moved and properly seconded? Any objections? We are adjourned.